Yeah, bringing back Diggs was, it's pretty cool because we talked, him and I talked when we first got here last year and had a great conversation. Obviously, things worked out the way they did, but excited for him to be back. I know the building's really excited. I think he's excited. I know a lot of our guys are really fired up, and yeah, so we'll just see how it goes. But we're just doing a walkthrough, and he's spitting out calls, and we'll see how it shakes out. But excited to see him practice today.
Is there enough overlap what he was doing at Bernard?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah, you're looking at a similar thing with EJ last year, and I mean he's been, you know, been doing a while at a high level. So we're not doing anything he's never heard of.
Because he's played so recently, the last couple of weeks, does that make it less of a ramp-up period for him?
Yeah, I kind of put it in the bucket like that he has been playing. If we were just to acquire him in a different, different fashion, that's how I'm looking at it. So.
How's Julian Love and Kyle Cosby?
Yeah, so Ty's, we're day by day with Ty. Not going to practice today. We'll see tomorrow. Julian's still in the same process we're talking about, so he's not going to practice. He's not going to practice this week. He's not going to play. So.
Cam Akers, bringing him in and with George obviously going on
Yeah, just a lot of respect for Cam. I have a lot of relationships with him, from prior stops. System familiar to ours, so I expect him to step right in and do a great job.
Eric Sauber, is he in the same position as Julian? He's not going to practice this week?
As of now, yeah.
When you first met with Blindbury, what did you like about how his football acumen and skill fit in your system?
Well, he wasn't in town. We talked on the phone. The conversation was really just about, it's funny. You go back and think about where my mind was in that moment. There's a lot going on, and I don't think we had it as dialed in terms of like describing how we wanted to operate. So it was kind of just getting to know each other and understand where he's coming from in his career, how he wants to operate, and then same thing from my perspective too. It was a great conversation. I got a lot of respect for him.
Riley Mills getting his practice window open.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Told the team this morning too, and they were fired up. I mean, Riley's been working extremely hard, and he's been locked in, and I know he's been anticipating this moment for a long time, and just got to go out there and just play the game that you've been playing your whole life. It's been a minute since he's played, so but it would be great to see him out there and in uniform with a helmet on and everything. It'd be really cool.
With Julian, do you have an idea, like, is he going to be back this year? Is there concern that he might not be back?
I expect him to be back this year, and we're really, really hoping for next week is what we're shooting for. But I've been wrong before.
D'Anthony Bell had to jump into that spot when Ty went down there, but how do you feel he's done both in the game Sunday and throughout the year for you, kind of that depth?
Yeah, I mean it's another. It's like I feel like we have these conversations every week with guys that get opportunities, and when we had an opportunity to get D-Bell in the building, Jeff Howard had a lot of had a history with him, and we knew what type of player he was on special teams, and he's a physical player out on defense as well. I think he's shown those things. Working to be as decisive as those guys, and he did a great job of coming in and operating without a lot of reps, which is not that easy thing to do from what we ask our safeties to do. So that was really cool.
Putting Shaquille on the 53 and waving Derrick Kendrick, I guess, what kind of way did that?
Yeah, I mean, we hope to get DK back. Just Shaq's been doing a great job, and felt like that was the right move. And it wasn't just like a 1-for-1, like just subbing out DK for Shaq. There's some other things going on roster-wise too, is what helped drive that decision.
Getting Patrick O'Connell up to 53, I know he's a guy you praise after the game, but what has he done over the course of the time you've been here to kind of build himself up to where he is now?
Well, I describe him as steadfast. I mean, he gets here I see his car more often than not when I'm getting here. So that's, 6 a.m. or whatever. And he's just here every day working on his body, preparing. And then he's a guy that's always been available. He takes a ton of reps. He practices 100 miles an hour all the time. And it's not like he's been, nobody's perfect in those moments, but as a coach, you respect the effort and the competitor and the guy that just keep coming back after he's gotten some situations where he's gotten not really the best news. that reflects like the effort that he's put forward, which is a tough situation. When you play well enough to be on an NFL team and you don't make the team, that's a hard thing to do, you know. And so it speaks a lot for him to just go back, and just keep attacking it like he did. And so that's why you're so happy for him, because you know Cody White's another example of that, of guys that just have stuck to it and had a great attitude, and that goes a long way with our team, you know, because the guys realize too, they see them making plays all the time, and they realize that they're really good players, and then they see how they handle, you know, those types of situations, which is, you know, you can't help but respect those guys for that.
Well, he and Drake got a ton of reps in camp when you guys were hurt.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Obviously, those reps are big for them to develop, but what did that do for the coaching staff maybe to see them in that role and kind of how they handle it?
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, again, you know, we're gonna get a lot of plays. It's just sometimes they're at different speeds and different tempos, but we want to give guys opportunities, especially guys down the line on the roster, to develop and get better. And when you do have guys that aren't available that are your first and second stringers, that's great opportunities for those guys. And so, to your point, I think us seeing them do it for that amount of time probably gave them, you know, we've been seeing since then, but it's a little bit more competitive in camp. So to see them in those situations is, you know, gives us confidence as well.
Offenses have the lowest percentage of run plays in the NFL against the Vikings defense, but the Vikings have been giving up a ton of rushing yards. What do they do to discourage teams from running the ball against them?
That's a good question. I mean, they give you a lot of looks. They play different personnel packages. Guys aren't always in the same spots. You know, they like to pressure certain, you know, formations and things like that. So it probably adds some doubt to some game plans where you might not be getting some looks that you expect. So that might deter you from things. Or, you know, if they're going to be so positive towards the run, that teams might feel like there are more opportunities. Similar to like the third down question you asked last week. Same idea. If they're going to commit to the run, teams might feel like they have more pass opportunities.
There've been a number of guys with tackles for loss. I think third most in the NFL, maybe it's the most in the NFL. That would lead you to believe it's an aggressive defense, but what else is it about being able to make those plays?
Well, our front is just playing at an incredibly high level, and so it starts with them and how they play. You know, if you're going to play in shell defense all the time, you're short on gaps. So guys have to account for multiple gaps on certain plays. So one, it takes a lot of chemistry and reps, so you understand, you know, how we're going to play certain plays. But also our guys up front have to be disruptive, and they have to do it in a team fashion. You know, it's easy to just rip up the field and say you were aggressive, but it's another thing saying, well, okay, I can anticipate that I'm going to get a certain block based off a certain blocking surface, and then I can take a little bit more of a calculated chance to be disruptive. You know, we prefer the latter in that situation.
Ernest Jones, will he be able to practice this week?
Yeah, EJ's trending on his like normal workload, but still going to be our ramp. You know, I don't think we're out of the woods yet. I think he's got to go test it out and see how it feels in full speed for us to start making some decisions.
Brian Flores blitzes like almost a 60% rate the last few weeks. You tend to blitz less often. You know, what is it about Brian Flores' defense that allows him to take these risks and not necessarily give up a lot of explosives?
Well, it's methods and principles, right? It's you know, I think they similar to like Todd Bowles' defense is like they play aggressive, they play physical, they play smart. He calls an aggressive game, so that like the principles are. I like to think that we call an aggressive game. We're just not necessarily sending bodies at the problem, you know. So the principles are there, but how they want to get it done is a little different. They do a good job of they do a good job of tackling in space, so that's going to go a long way. They're not necessarily selling the farm on every pressure, so there's normally some sort of roof on what they're doing, and it's calculated. I mean, they're running the premier looks, and they're in good calls. It means it's structured the right way and designed well, and the players are really smart where they can get in and out of certain plays. I'm assuming is what's going on. So it's a high level operation they got going.
How do you call an aggressive game without blitzing?
Well, I think you can. It's like you're attacking like what you feel like they're trying to do. You know, so how you like allocate people and where you put everybody and things like that.
You're going to be digging into some Centennial tape for Max Paul?
Yeah, it's funny. Small world, huh? kind of crazy. It's weird that you went to the same school, but like the separation. Like I feel like I'm young. I feel like I'm like 25 years old, and now here he comes. I don't know what year he graduated, but it's kind of cool.
What, I mean, if he does go, is there solo NFL tape on him? Like, what do you, with preseason or more?
Yeah, I think we got a question like this a while ago when I forget who we were playing, but when there's like little tape, there was a new coordinator, so what do you do? Want to understand, try to how they operate, and JJ still might play, so we have to be ready for him as well. But you're going to watch preseason tape, watch some of their college stuff, talk to our scouts, things like that, guys that have watched him coming out and have, followed his path. But do the best you can, really, with what tape you have out of him, what's out there. But he played pretty extensively in the preseason, so that's pretty good tape to watch.
Mike, when you played these guys last year, Sam was obviously the quarterback on their side. What, when you think back to it, what stood out about him that day, going against them and seeing him?
Coming back down 4 and freaking ripping a 9-ball to Justin, the last guy in his progression. That's what I remember. How many touchdowns did he throw? Yeah, I know you knew, Mike.
Why did those 2 games that ended Sam's season, the wild card and Thursday, why was not a deterrent for you like that? What else did you see from the sample last year? Make you confident?
Yeah, I think it's a little like narrow-minded. You're just going to go off a 2-game sample. It's like it's a shot on our guy Salk, but it's like getting rid of a guy after the first OTA. Like it's got to be the full experience. But when we're looking into possibly trying to get Sam, I mean, to a person, the type of player and teammate he was on a daily basis was like really cool. And then Clint, having worked with him for a full year and understand what type of practice player he was, and the things that he could do, like ability-wise, went a long way. And then you watch the totality of the tape. There's a lot of great things going on, like in the red zone, on 3rd down, 2-minute, on the move. We know he's a great thrower on the move. So all those things shine through.
Did you guys ever talk to Kevin O'Connell about him? It seems like they were obviously committed to JJ.
Kevin and I have had conversations over the last year or so, just catching up at like owners meetings and stuff. And he's a great guy, and he loves Sam, obviously, and spoke really highly of him. So yeah.
You've been saying Byron Murphy's been playing this way since you got here. What is the difference between that?
Well, I do think he's playing. I do think his game has stepped up a notch. Yeah. I think it's just coming with more reps and experience, and him realizing that he can make certain plays. I think he's moving a little bit more decisively. And in the pass rush game, I think it's just a function of snaps and that continual improvement.
There are 2 lines of thought with how good JSN's been playing. One is he'd be crazy to not keep targeting him as well as he's been playing. The other would be, maybe you want to start getting other players involved to help add variety. Kind of curious where you fall on that spectrum.
Both. Yeah, both. I mean, we got a lot of great skill players on our offense that do a lot of great things that we can continue to find ways to get them the ball, and how would you not want to target Jax as much as you possibly can as well? So it's it's really not that simple of a thing for Clint, to do that. But I thought we've done a great job balancing up to this point, and we got to continue to do that.
Anything else? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Leo's right here.
What's up? Good.
Feel your face back on the defensive side of things with Quandre.
Oh yeah, it's nice to see Quandre back. I mean, he's a great leader. He's been in this part of this organization for a long time, so everybody welcomed him back with open arms.
You see a defense like the Vikings that blitzes like crazy, and you guys don't send extras. Is it fun to play in a defense that blitzes that often, or do you care one way or another?
I mean, it's definitely fun to blitz, but as a defensive lineman, we prefer to not blitz because, if we could rush with 4 and get to the quarterback, that means the sack is going to one of us in the defensive line room. And, we all talk about, how we would be happy if anyone got the sack on third down to get off the field, but as a competitive defense, our defensive line wants to get every sack, so sometimes we prefer to not send pressure.
You've got at least 17 guys with a half sack this year, which is like incredible. Have you ever been on a team where it has been so distributed in that category?
I'm not sure. I don't think I paid attention to it as much when I was younger, but it's definitely a unique thing here. At one point, the defensive coordinator, I think AD asked the guys to raise their hand if they got at least a half a sack in the room, and you just seem like the way we're distributed in our defensive meeting, it's like the secondary sits in the front, and then the linebackers, and then the D line, and you see guys from every level raising their hand, and I think that's pretty rare.
What does it say about the guys like Adair Hall, who gets his first sack last week, even though he's been around the quarterback a lot? Because that could breed jealousy, or it could breed competition and camaraderie.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what's so special here is you don't see as much jealousy. You see a lot of camaraderie, a lot of competition, but at the same time, like even for a guy like Derek Hall who just got his first sack, whenever he's seen one of his peers or teammates get a sack leading up to his, he's the first one in there celebrating with them. And like I just said, it's like regardless of who gets the sack on third down, I think overall, we're excited to have a good defense. We're excited to get off the field in clutch situations. So, even if it's Spoon getting the sack on a blitz, although I want to get that sack, I'm still going to be happy that he got it. He's a part of our defense, and we all root for each other.
What was the bigger picture message from Ed Dirty when he asked you, like, what point was he making?
I think that was the point is that, we were talking about our pressure rate. And his point was that, it's not just the D-line. It takes rush and coverage a lot of times. Like sometimes he was showing our pressure on quarterbacks, and, it took the quarterback to go through his second progression. So, there's some times where we're getting pressure because the secondary is doing their jobs by, making the quarterback hold the ball. And we were just talking about how it just all ties together and, how we send pressure, we send blitzes, and we're pretty much like trying to teach and, let some of the guys in other rooms that are not in the defensive line that they have to learn how to rush the quarterback as well.
How were you guys with the end of that game in Tennessee and fourth down conversion, long drive?
I mean, I think it was definitely a learning moment from last week, which was, in this league, a lot of times you have those moments and you lose the game. So overall, I think we're happy that we won the game. But there was a lot of takeaways that we could learn from, specifically with getting off the field on those fourth downs and just doing a better job tackling.
Was it simply a matter of Ward ran around a lot? It was kind of hard to get to him, or were there some other things he could have done there?
I mean, I think there was definitely some things we could have done there, but, at the same time, we got to give them credit. I think, he made some pretty impressive throws. I remember hitting him out of bounds all the way to our left, and he threw the ball completely across the field and just made a good play. Sometimes in football that's just going to happen. I think, where our defense does good is we swarm to the ball regardless of the situation, and a lot of times we stop those situations. When a quarterback's making a great play like that, we still get off the field. And, that's overall what stood out to me is that we kept fighting. Mm-hmm. I mean, it helps a lot because, one, our offense is staying on the field, sustaining drives long enough for our defense to recover from the last series. And, we're getting our wind and our legs back, so by the time we go back out there, we're ready to go. And then also when you get a jump on a team, they pretty much have to score. And a lot of times they abandon the run pretty early, and they have to pass the ball, which, as a defensive line and as a defense that wants to get pressure on the quarterback, that's going to be in our favor.
Who designed your shirts?
I don't know. They just end up in my locker, and I love them.
During camp, when Ernest was still coming back, and then Tyrese Knight was gone for a while, we saw Patrick O'Connell and Drake get a lot of first-team reps. What kind of confidence did that give you guys as a defense, seeing them in that role
Early on? I mean, I think, Pat and Drake, just from a work ethic standpoint, gives us confidence in them. Before we even seen them take reps with the ones, I think, Patrick is one of those guys where he's one of the first guys in and the last guys out. And, I've had conversations with him, and he told me he learned a lot from Bobby Wagner when he was here, and, his work ethic and how he showed up every day. And I see those same patterns in Patrick. And, to me, it's like that alone gives me the confidence in him when he's out there on the field with us.
How about how physical he played?
I mean, he played great. He was coming down hills, hitting his holes, and a lot of times they tell defensive linemen like hold the old lineman off of our linebackers, and sometimes, like I just said, us wanting to be selfish and get to the quarterback, it's the same way in the run game. It's like sometimes I want to shed the block so I can make the play, but when you have a linebacker coming downhill and hitting it like that, it's like I'll hold this offensive lineman off of you all day.
Going back to the point about Derek Hall and kind of selflessness, Boyd, same thing.
Mhm.
He's got 1 sack, leaving a contract here. If
Yeah.
sacks get got paid, what does that say about his kind of selflessness that he's accepting his role despite the things last year?
It says a lot. I mean, I think for all of us, we're allowed to succeed and do well when we fully just accept our role. I think when you're trying to fight your role and, fight the system, and it just makes the situation worse, in my opinion. He knows his role. He knows when he's out there on the field, and he has to maximize his opportunities and his snap count and all those things. So if you're not fully locked in and prepared and ready for the moment, and you're too worried about, things you can't control, like outside of your role, then that's going to affect your plays when you're out there on the field. So I think, that's a special thing on this team right now, on this defense especially, that, guys are knowing their roles. They know when to take their opportunities and know when to take their shots.
Make it sound like it's certainly a team effort, right?
Mm.
But how much of this is you talking about your past experience and being the leader in the room that says, this is how we are going to play?
I mean, I think that is a big part of it. I think I do play a big role in the leadership in our defensive line. And luckily, I don't have to do it alone. We have guys like Jay Reed, DeMarcus Lawrence, other good vets in our room. And that's something that, we've been talking a lot about, is just making sure that we stay the course and just reminding the young guys that it's not easy to be in the position that we're in right now as a team.
How important was it for players to buy in early in OTAs, training camp? It just didn't happen now.
Yeah.
How early? How important was that?
I think that was, that's a good point. I think it was really important to, take it by the horns early on, because now by this time in the season, there's a lot of teams that have players that are down from injury. There's a lot of players battling through, small injuries to stay on the field. There's a lot of, things that could be going against teams. And, this is a time where we rely on our basics, rely on our culture, rely on our identity as a team. And I think that identity was created way back in OTAs and camp. So if we didn't have that strong base and strong foundation, it would be really hard at this time of year.
Thanks, David.
Yeah.
It's good. How are you guys?
As someone who just played this former team, do you give any tips to Sam Darnold about this week, or do you think you've got it covered?
Yeah, I think he's got a great demeanor about him. I think he's got it pretty locked down.
What can you tell us about Cam Akers?
Cam Akers? In my time with him in LA, he was a dangerous finisher of runs. I know that. He's just a violent runner, and so tough to bring down and really strong dude. So been through a lot of stuff, gone through some tough injury stuff, and fought through things, and you know, so pretty cool to see kind of some of that stuff that he's done and be able to experience that firsthand. And but yeah, glad he's here.
When you look at the Vikings defense and the way that they create loss of yards, what do you have to be especially aware of?
Yeah, well, you just know you're going to get a lot of different looks, a lot of different pressures and things like that. Guys are going to be, you know, blitzing from all different parts of the field. They got the internals, the externals, and just a lot of different stuff that they throw at you. So just being on our stuff and knowing that that's a part of the identity of that defense, and be able to anticipate some of that stuff and then be able to react and know that, you know, we're going to anticipate some things. It's going to look one way. You're going to get something else, and you just got to be able to react to it and, you know, have a plan, have a counter, and you know, there's a few different things that could happen.
What's the first thing you go for on the Thanksgiving table?
First thing I go from the Thanksgiving table, well, I don't know. Probably something boring like turkey. I don't know. That's probably the most boring possible answer. So I guess, but I mean, you have to have your protein before you start having all the other stuff. So just go with that.
When you look at the percentage of JSN and the offensive and the receiving yards, there's a couple of different ways to look at it. What else has to go right for him to have the success that he is having?
What else has to go right for him to?
On offense, right? It's not just him creating these plays. What does it say about the offense in general, right?
Yeah.
It's not just running the show.
No, yeah. I mean, but he's making the most of those opportunities. He's doing a really good job. You know, coming alive in every part of the field. But yeah, I mean, it is. It's. You know, I think the best offenses, you know, can do it a lot of different ways. Whether it's on the ground in the screen game, in the pass game, and yeah, I mean, he's doing a great job of, you know, making the most of, like I said, making the most of his opportunities. And yeah, I guess I don't have much else to say about that.
Can you tell us, like, what Clint Kubiak is like behind the scenes? When we talk to him, he always seems very low-key and understated. What's he like behind the scenes?
Yeah, I'd say like pretty low-key and understated. Yeah, I mean, that's how he is. I mean, says what needs to be said, in as monotonous and slow tone as he can possibly say it. And yeah, like if you just took a rancher out of Texas and said, like, just go install some plays for us, like that's Clint Kubiak.
Did you ever see him get fired up? Does he have like an intense side to him?
Yeah, he does. I mean, he does. He gets fired up. You can, yeah, like for a very short amount of time, and he snaps right back into that same character, you know, afterwards. So, but he does. He gets fired up, and he doesn't like bad football, and so yeah, isn't going to be okay with those kinds of things. Holds guys to a high standard, but yeah, the Clint Kubiak you see up here in front of you guys is the same exact guy that we see.
What's his sense of humor like?
Dry.
What's the difference in playing for a coach that maybe is more animated versus one that's less?
I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
What's the difference, or is there a difference between playing with a coordinator, a coach
Mm-hmm.
that's more animated versus one that's more dry?
I guess, you know, like sometimes you're navigating a more animated coach's like emotions. You know, like it can be a good thing. It can also be a bad thing where you're you know, navigating the waves of a football game, but you're also having to navigate the waves of, you know, whoever's communicating to you the play and things like that. And you can feel that energy in and out of the huddle. So it's just another thing that you got to, you know, be able to, you know, traverse through. But in the same way, like sometimes those guys bring energy when there needs to be energy. And so I think the difference is, you know, the emphasis now is, you know, with Clint, you got to bring your own energy. He'll be on you because he'll get on you when you mess up, but we don't want to let it get to that point. And so from the jump, you got to bring your own stuff. And I think we've done a great job of that, though, offensive with the guys we have.
With Kubiak in 8 months, how many times have you seen him
Smile or laugh? Oh, he smiles and laughs. It's just a little. You have to look at the corner of his mouth. It's kind of a side smile thing.
Cooper, what would be your advice to a young receiver in terms of dealing with the highs and the lows of the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it is just the understanding of the way that this league works, and similar to what a DB goes through. Like a DB is like there's an expectation of failure for defensive backs, and knowing that there's going to be, like, you're going to do everything right, and the receiver's going to catch the ball, and that's just part of it. And so, at receiver, you got to understand, like, hey, there's going to be times that coverage is going to take you away. There's going to be times that the coverage is just not right. There's going to be times that you do everything right, and it was the right coverage, and something else went wrong somewhere else, and you weren't able to get the ball. And so it just comes down to, dialing in your process. Be about winning as much as you possibly can. So when the opportunity does present itself, you've done everything you can to be in the right place at the right time, in a place where you can make the play. And so, the guys in this league are too good. The guys are too good. The D coordinators are too good. That all you can control is your job. Control and be where you are, execute what you're asked to do, and those opportunities will continue to multiply.
One more on Clint, but I've heard people say he's really detail-oriented. It seems like every football coach has to be detail-oriented.
Yeah.
Because there's so much going on. But I guess what makes the coach one coach going to be more detail-oriented than another?
I think it's I guess that kind of comes down to like a willingness to have answers for guys. Right? Like it's not good enough to come up here and just make a play and draw a play and say we're going to do this. It's like, well, what if X, Y, and Z happens? What then? What do you want us to do? And so I think that's the thing, is being able to allow us in those chairs to be able to make decisions, because we've been addressed like, hey, these are my rules. This is what I need to get done, and based on whatever's presented, whatever look we get, I know what needs to happen. I think sometimes you can get into a place, if you're not being detail oriented, you get up there and it's like, hey, look, this is a look we haven't seen yet. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and you run things into bad looks and things like that. And I think that's something that Clint, tries to minimize.
Cooper, JSN's obviously playing at a high level right now. You were playing at a very high level during that Super Bowl season with the Rams. How did you stay there, and what have you shared with JSN to kind of help him stay in that level?
Yeah, it kind of goes back to what I had said before about just being the process. Like there's a process to this whole thing, and there were games earlier this year where things weren't going for him early. Like there wasn't a whole lot of production early on in a game, and it's like, hey man, just stay in it because the opportunity's coming. Like don't allow yourself to check out of the game just because the opportunity's not there yet. And he did a great job because third, fourth quarter, those opportunities presented themselves, and he's making those dagger plays that in games for us, and he's done a great job of that. Just continue to be in that space and know there's going to be some lows that come up. There's going to be some places, some times where defenses are doing everything they can to take you away, and you just got to be engaged. You got to continue to be engaged, and that allows you also to find ways to fight through some really tough downs as well. Like, hey, if you're a primary here and the coverage, maybe is trying to take you away, like you can find ways to win in those places still too. And so there's not being discouraged in that regard, and just being able to, like he's done, make the most of his opportunities.
Last question. Anything else, guys?
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Crazy Abel's on his way.
Good afternoon. Good.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving food?
I can't say turkey. We don't do turkey. We're a eat beef family in the Midwest, so we do prime rib over Thanksgiving. So that's got to be day one install right there.
You've recently gone up against guys like Simmons, Place, Campbell. Is a rookie, what can playing veterans, really skilled, talented veterans do for you in your development?
Well, guys like you just mentioned, they're extremely talented. So any weaknesses that you do have, it's kind of under a microscope, and they're able to expose that. So just learning the deficiencies of my game, going against guys like that, just really important, and they understands what it takes to go up against and do good against guys like that.
With you were mic'd up with Calais, and there's kind of some fun back and forth, but he was also kind of talking strategy. Is that a normal thing, or is that something you, being a veteran, decided to share with you?
Yes and no. Sometimes you try and give a few wrong tips out there to try and play into your hand a little bit, maybe bluff a little bit here and there. But guy like that has gone up against a lot of guys throughout the league and has been playing at a really high level. So when he points something out, it kind of tends to be right.
Ray, going back to LA, when that play happens and you go down late, and like your initial thought, what was kind of going through your head? It seemed like you thought it was pretty bad in the moment. Kind of how were you processing that, and how quickly did you kind of realize maybe you can get through that?
Yeah, I mean, right when it happened, the amount of pain down in the knee, it's like all the bad things start going through your head. And initially, it's like, man, chalk it up. It's a great rookie season. And then as you kind of start learning what actually happened and all that, you start realizing maybe this happened because of this, blah, blah, blah. And then sometimes you forget that maybe a 320-pounder falls on you. It's not going to feel great right away. So shout out Chuck for that. And, I mean, kudos to our doctors, our athletic training staff having a plan, kind of understanding the expectations, and just going throughout the week knowing that it's going to be kind of day by day. And then on Sunday, it's going to be a game time decision.
So you thought it might be season ending when it happened?
Yeah, the amount of pain I experienced, yeah, absolutely.
A lot of fans, outside observers, might say, okay, even if he's probably okay, he should take a week off just to make sure, get all the way healthy. Why is that mindset not really apply to NFL players?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I love what I believe it was Kobe said back in the day, like maybe somebody's showing up to that game to watch you, and if there's a chance that you're able to play, go do it. I mean, at the end of the day, you can only play this game for a short amount of time, so why would you sit on the sidelines and watch your team go out there and play? And then at the end of the day, there's people that depend on you and all that. So anytime you get a chance to put on a uniform, especially a Seahawks uniform, like, do it, no questions asked.
What was it like going up against Simmons?
It's a good player. He got me a few times, and got to learn from those and keep attacking.
What kind of challenges does Minnesota's defense present for a line, just the different things they do, the pressures they bring?
Yeah. How detailed do you want me to get? I mean, they do extremely well hiding certain blitzes and pressure protections, and then at the end of the day, they got really athletic and extremely quick players up front, so they're able to stick and do a lot of line movements that cause you to get off balance. And then I think their linebackers in the second half do a really good job of playing downhill and getting themselves into the runs fits. So it's going to be a really good challenge. Minnesota's a really good defense, and we're going to have to be on our A game on Sunday.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it.
Yep, thanks.